everybody, and welcome to the St. Michael's Podcast, episode 5. Today we're going to be doing a Q&A with our special guest, Mrs Capen. So, to start off, how many years have you been teaching at St. Michael's?
I have been at St. Michael's for 17 years, but I started in the library. And then when we lost a fourth grade teacher, Father Severin asked me to step in and teach religion for fourth grade. And that's when I started teaching at St. Michael.
So how did you get into teaching computer science?
Well, I love computers. I've always loved computers. Back when I started working on computers, we did not have access to the internet. There were no emails. But I still enjoyed using computers. I think I was the first person in my sorority to have their own computer. And I just played around on computers to see what they could do. And that was fun. And then I heard about some coding experiences. So I went and took some coding workshops. One of them only myself and another teacher showed up to because there are so many teachers intimidated about code. Then I tried to get certified or get licensed in computer science. And there were no education classes for computer science. You have to take college level computer science classes. And after not having any high school level computer science classes, it was kind of scary. But they were fun. Most of them were virtual. All of them were virtual. And I took the certification test and passed it. So then I just studied more computer science on my own. I'm kind of self-taught.
So I assume computer science is your favorite subject to teach?
Nope.
It isn't?
No.
What is your favorite subject?
Religion.
Oh.
My top 3 are religion, computer science, and math, in probably that order. Yeah. I did not start being Catholic. I was born in England, so I was Anglican. And I spent lots of time with Father Severin. And I spent 7 years, just wandering to find my true faith. And I became Catholic and have been very much at peace with that decision and thrilled that I can follow the Catholic faith in my relationship with God.
And how long have you been teaching religion?
I think 15 years.
Wow.
I've taught religion, 4th grade, 3rd grade, and 7th grade. I was a catechist for. This is my first year not being a catechist for about 15 years. So I was a catechist for 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds. What grade's 8th grade? 14, yeah.
14, 15.
Okay, well, there you go. So it went all the way from junior in high school all the way down to 8th grade. That's who I've taught, who I was catechist for.
So you sound like your faith is important to you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. I came to the understanding that being born in England, most people are Anglican. And that's only because of a decision that Henry VIII made for the people in England. And I don't feel that I follow his moral decisions. So I made that correction. And I'm very pleased that I did.
So, what is this tech team thing that you've started?
That's an interesting thing. We had a YouTube channel where, when kids would do, their Who Am I Saint presentations, I'd record it so that parents could see it. One time we recorded things for Grandparents' Day, and we used a YouTube channel to just kind of put things in a place that we could retrieve them easily. But with COVID and people not being able to come into the school and other things like that, I had a group of very eager students who were really more than happy to help me record live events, and we posted those to the YouTube channel, and it has kind of blown up from there. I guess our first real event was last year's talent show. and it just was streamed beautifully. We had a group of people who worked very hard on that, and I was thrilled. So we decided to step it up a notch this year, and we streamed a lot more events. We've got multiple camera angles. We've got switcher to switch between the camera angles during the live feed or during a recording. We've got wireless sound, wireless video. We've got some post-production editing. We've got some students who are working on scripts for different events. We've got some students who are very capable of putting together some podcasts. We have some commercials that we've made. We did a virtual tour. It really is very student focused, and we try and use technology to let people see the wonderful things we're doing here at St. Michael.
So, you talked about the Who Am I Saint thing where we first started recording. So what gave you the idea to broaden that and live stream more events and record more things?
I think it was discussions with students. Students led some great ideas on, hey, why don't we try this or why don't we try this? So we've just tried all kinds of things and see what works. We still have a ways to go to make it as professional as things that we've seen, but we're also going to get together with some people in the industry who run things live, and take some field trips to see what they're doing. High school's invited us out to play around with their equipment. So it's, great experience. It's wonderful to see, everything is very volunteer based. Kids get to decide what they want to do. We decide what kind of events we want to stream. I'm having fun with it. I just sit back and generally watch the students do all the work, and they do a fabulous job.
So, will you still continue tech team in the future?
I will continue to do tech team as long as I have students who are capable of doing it.
So, you created tech team, but what would you say your actual position on what do you really do on tech team?
I kind of facilitate. So I kind of help organize. I ask the students involved whether they want to stream different events, record different events, and if so, what activity do they want to do in that streaming or recording.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about England?
Oh, yeah. I was born in England. When I was I came over here when I was 11 3/4. My last year there, I lived at boarding school. And boarding school is where you go away and stay there for the week. And it's kind of like Hogwarts, right? Because we had prefects and head girls. It was just a girls' school. Prefects and head girls, and the home economics lab was a stable that was converted into the home economics lab, and it was a beautiful, big, old English manor house. What else? Oh, the town that I grew up in is where the Hogwarts Express is now, in Quainton. I went to public school over there before that. At one point, I was in 6 schools in 6 different years because of my transition from England to the United States. We wore school uniforms. Everybody in England wears school uniforms. Public school, private school, either one.
Bit of a random question, but what's the food like in England?
I love fish and chips. Fish and chips are great.
It's an iconic one.
The sausages are more like brats, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's similar to the things here. There's no biscuits and gravy over there. But, everything else is very similar. The chocolate is amazing, though. I love English chocolate. And, in England, Easter is super huge. Your Easter eggs are these chocolate shells, right? Stuffed with all kinds of candy. And so, over there, the Easter Bunny does not come across the ocean. There is no Easter Bunny in England. But you do get big Easter eggs that are given to you by family members.
So, while in England, did you ever go to Big Ben?
Yeah.
I think everyone that's in
Yeah.
England goes to Big Ben.
It's next to the River Thames, connected to the Houses of Parliament. I've never been into Parliament, but I have been around London a lot. The traffic there is terrible. Don't drive in London. But yeah, I've been over most of England. The north, the south. Yeah.
So speaking of, you went all over England. So I've heard that there's like an accent difference between different parts of England. Is there really?
Yes. My mom was from the south, and my dad was from the north, and there is a different dialect between the two. There are a few words that I still say in a non-American accent, like water or tomato, right? Like over here we would say aluminum, right? But in England they would say aluminium. Or oregano, we say it in America, oregano. Over there it's oregano. There's just some, different ways of saying things.
You never really talk with a British accent. Did you have one at one point?
Yes, I did. When I first came over, people laughed at the way that I spoke because I spoke with a British accent. So I sang along with the radio, overemphasizing that American twang until people started thinking I was from the South.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey from England to America and how the culture changed?
Okay. Well, we came over because my dad worked for an international company. So he was in sales, so they wanted him to spend 2 years in Indianapolis, 2 years in Phoenix, and then come back to England. So we weren't going to be over here all that long until the company decided he would be over here longer. So we took one of those big Boeing 747s, the jumbo jets, or is it 737, over to New York. We went through customs. We took a smaller plane to Indianapolis. Then we had to stay in a hotel for a while till we found a house. And we lived in Indianapolis for a couple years. And then when we knew we were staying out here longer, we built a house out in Greenfield.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you became an American citizen?
Yes. When my boys were really little, I wanted to make sure that I was a good citizen and I could show them that voting is important. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go and get I was already a resident alien, which means you have permission to be in the country. But I decided that I wanted to demonstrate to my children what a good citizen would be like. So I had to submit all of this paperwork. I had to study for a test that I took on American government, American civics. I would come in and volunteer in Ms. Dowling's class, which was in this exact room. And do you remember Chase Kleckner, that age group, Madison Dolan?
I recall the names.
They would help me study for my test questions. And then the teacher that I had in 8th grade that I did U.S. history, American history with, that teacher also helped me study for my test. And I got 100.
That's good. So do you ever plan on going back to England?
We're going to visit. but I'm not going to stay there permanently. I do like it over here. My immediate family is all over here. So I'm going to go back and visit, but I'm not staying.
Yeah. Did you enjoy living in England, or would you have rather lived in America your whole life?
Well, there's some pros and cons about both, right? I enjoyed living in England when I was there, but I do like living in America better. I think I guess fish and chips and chocolate, probably the only things, well, the houses are old and really cool, right? The house that we lived in was 3 cottages put together. It was called 13 to 15 the Green. So it was 3 cottages that were all connected, and they took out parts of the walls so that it all became one house. And the fireplace, the house itself was 300 years old, so the fireplace, you could sit inside the fireplace. And so that was cool. But I do like a lot about America. You know, I like how friendly people are. I like being in the country in Greenfield. I mean, Greenfield is the one place I really like to live. I think that's about it.
So, was there, in the education system in England and the education system in America, is there a big difference between the two?
Well, in England, you have to take A-levels and O-levels in order to get to college. So there's multiple testing going on in order to get to college. Here, you know, you just have to take like the SAT to get in. Yeah. But you have to take A-levels and O-levels according to the subjects that you're taking to get into college. So it's a little different. And then you spend a lot of time studying for those specific exams.
Well, with that, I believe that we are going to be done with our podcast today. I'm your host, Keaton. I have Ruthie to my left and Aiden and Brady to my right. We want to thank Miss Capen for taking time out of her day to come and talk to us and answer our questions. Thank you very much. Thank you all for listening, and God bless.